Hello everyone. Let's begin our gentle yoga practice. Today we're going to start on our back. So go ahead and gently roll down onto your back, finding your way onto your mat or into your space. As you make it onto your back, you can draw your knees into your chest, holding either the backs of your thighs or the front of your shins if it's comfortable. And just taking a few deep breaths. Inhaling, feeling your belly press against your thighs, and exhaling to press your thighs a little bit into your belly. You can start to make some circles with your knees in one direction, massaging out your lower back a little bit. And then circling your knees in the opposite direction. Maybe it feels good to rock side to side or give those knees one more pull into the chest. And when you are ready, just set your feet onto the ground in front of you, so your knees are bent up for the sky. We'll take our arms alongside our body with the palms facing down beside the hips as we begin our bridge flow. So as you inhale, begin to lift your hips up off of the mat, starting to peel the spine up one vertebrae at a time until you get all the way to the top of your bridge. And as you exhale through your nose or your mouth, slowly begin to roll the spine back down, one vertebrae at a time, until your hips come back into the mat. And you can repeat this a few times at your own pace, feeling free to add in your arms too. As you inhale and lift your hips, you can reach those arms up and over the head until they're by the ears. And as you exhale, just letting the arms and the hips flow back down towards the ground. Taking a couple more, articulating through the spine with your breath, inhaling to rise. And slow exhales to come down, nice and gentle. And one more bridge at your own pace. Once you've made it back down into the mat, go ahead and take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee, creating a figure 4 shape. You can stay here and monitor how your outer right hip feels by pressing your right knee forward to increase the stretch. If you would like a lot more here, you can also lift your left foot off of the mat and weave your right hand through your leg so you can interlace those fingers behind your left thigh or wherever feels most comfortable to hold on to. Flexing your right foot to protect your knee and using your exhales to deepen the stretch, whether that's pulling the left knee in or pressing the right knee away, or even a little bit of both. Taking a few breaths here into that outer right hip, just starting to feel it open up and release its grip. And one more big breath into that right hip. And then slowly release it. Left foot, right foot back down onto the mat. And we'll change sides. So we'll take that left ankle now and cross it over the right knee like a figure 4. You might stay here if this side's a little bit different, maybe using that left hand to press the left knee forward. Or perhaps you pick up that right foot and interlace your fingers behind the right thigh, keeping that left foot nice and flexed wherever you are. And also trying to keep the back of your neck nice and long, so just give your chin a little bit of a tuck. If this is hard to do, you can always place a cushion underneath your head to keep the back of the neck from being strained or crunched. Taking a few more breaths, just imagine them swirling around in your outer left hip, bringing it a little bit more vitality, bringing yourself just a little bit more ease into the body. One more breath here in this pigeon pose on your back. And then slowly releasing that right foot, left foot back down into the mat. And taking a nice full body stretch, extending those legs out long in front and reaching your arms up and over your head, stretching like you just awoke from a deep nap. Inhale. And as you exhale, draw both knees back into the chest. We'll begin to rock back and forward on our spine, going from the tip of the tailbone to the tips of the shoulder blades. We'll inhale to rock back and exhale to rock forward. So really creating a C-curve shape in your spine. So your navel's pulled in towards the back body and your gaze is in towards your belly. And just massaging out the back. Whenever you're ready, you can rock all the way up into a sitting position. Just sitting in some comfortable position that works best for you. You can cross your legs, you can have one or both extended out, or it always helps if you sit up on a cushion or a yoga block, especially if you're tight in your hip flexors or sensitive in your knees. Feel free to prop your seat up. We're going to sit our spine up nice and tall, just making a nice straight line in the spine and taking those hands onto the shoulders. We'll just begin to wake up those shoulders by drawing some big circles with our elbows. So just drawing circles in one direction here, maybe feeling a little bit of movement in the shoulder joint as it awakens. And then just drawing those circles in the opposite direction, just making sure that you don't feel any pain or pinching. You might be taking the movement a little bit too big if you are feeling that. So just finding your own range of motion here, feeling the shoulders getting warm. One more time around. Awesome. And then we'll take our hands now and interlace the fingers behind the head. Let the elbows be wide. And we'll do some seated cow and cat. So once again, your own range of motion. As you inhale, the elbows are really wide, really open up the chest for the sky, kind of tilt the pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, begin to round in. So pull your elbows in towards one another, your chin towards your chest, and really round your back like that C-curve shape. So again, you'll inhale to sit up tall, kind of rolling forward on your sitting bones as you open the elbows and lift the heart, cow. And as you exhale, really rounding in, maybe even adding a little bit of pressure of the hands into the back of the head to stretch the neck, cat. And just going at your own pace a couple more times, inhaling to open and expand, really opening up the front of the spine, and then exhaling to round it out, opening up the back of the spine, drawing the navel in. And just finishing up one more at your own pace, bringing that nice mobility into the spine. Great work. The next time you bring your chin to your chest, just go ahead and remain there, giving the back of the neck a little bit of love here as we open it up and lengthen it out a little bit. Let your hands drop onto your knees and just let your head be heavy. And in your inhale, we'll go ahead and take that right ear to the right shoulder and just pause there. If this is enough of a stretch for you on the left side of your neck, you can stay right here. If you'd like a little bit more, add in your right hand. Just bring it over top of your head and give yourself just a very gentle pull down. And if you want the most here for the left side, you can take those left fingertips to the ground beside you. So your left arm is at a diagonal away from the shoulder, and you're really breathing through the entire diagonal of that left side, all the way out through the fingertips. Breathing is important here, especially for these little delicate fibers in the neck. When you are ready, 2 hands onto the knees and just circle the chin back down towards the chest so the back of the neck is long. And on the inhale, we'll take that left ear to the left shoulder, doing the same stretch on the other side. So remember, just your options here. Listen to your body. You can stay exactly as you are, which gives you just the same stretch. If you'd like a little bit more, you can always add in that left hand, just giving just a little extra pull. And just perhaps adding in those right fingertips out by the right side if you'd like the most here today. So taking a few soft breaths into this place where we hold a lot of tension, a lot of our current stress kind of gets stuck up in our neck and shoulders. So notice how you're feeling already as we've focused on these areas of our body. One more breath. And then slowly, hands to knees, just circling the chin back down towards the chest. And then gently rising your head back up, chin away from the chest. And we'll transition over onto hands and knees now, coming into our tabletop position. So just listen to your body, go nice and easy with it. And we'll meet in our tabletop with our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. Please know if you're on a harder surface, you can always place a cushion or a pillow, or you can even double up your mat underneath your knees, just something to give your knees a little extra support if they need it. And we'll make that cow-cat movement now a little bit bigger in this tabletop position. So as you inhale, begin to drop your belly down, tilting the pelvis forward, and reach your chest forward. And then as you exhale, begin to push the ground away and really round the back, sending navel to spine, maybe even looking a little to the belly. And just doing that a few times, inhaling cow. You can even maybe lift your chin a little bit, maybe lift your gaze slightly, and then exhale to round it out in your cat. So same movement that we were doing seated, and we opened and closed the elbows, but maybe now you can really feel this mostly here in the spine, in the front and the back of the body, maybe even a little bit more. So one more time through your cow and cat, and then we're going to create a little bit of a flow. So if this flow is enough for you, feel free to keep going through the cow and the cat. If you'd like to spice it up just a little bit, on your next inhale, we'll drop our belly down for cow, lift the chin a little bit. And then on the exhale, we'll tuck our toes under and lift the knees, lift the hips, coming into an upside down V shape in a downward dog. But then we'll keep flowing. So on the inhale, drop the knees, find that cow back again. Untuck your toes. And on the exhale, round your back like cat and start to sit back towards your heels for child's pose. So that's the flow. Just listen to your body. You can inhale into cow. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Lower the knees, inhale, cow. Untuck the toes, exhale, round the back, cat, and start to sit back into the heels, child's pose. So taking this flow a couple more times at your own pace. If there's somewhere that feels really good that you might just want to linger in for an extra breath or two, this is your practice. So feel free to take what we're doing today and really make it work for you in this time and space. It might be different tomorrow. It might have been different yesterday. Just enjoying the flow, enjoying that connection of your movement to your breath, enjoying being present here in your body and your mind. Good job. The next time you find yourself in child's pose, go ahead and hang out there. So it's a great, calming, introspective posture that really brings some good space into the back body. If you're tight in your knees or your ankles, or this is uncomfortable for you, remember that you don't have to sit all the way back towards your heels. You can always cushion your knees. You can even put a cushion behind your knees so that you're sitting kind of on your cushion, or even put a cushion under your forehead if you'd like. For our side stretch, we'll begin to walk our hands a little bit over to the right side of the mat. Doesn't have to be far. Think about reaching at a forwards right diagonal, and maybe even reaching those those left fingertips out just a little further than the right ones. So you get a nice stretch from your left pinky finger all the way down through your left hip point. And just breathing into all those muscles in the left side body, breathing into the space between the left ribs. And then gently walking the hands back through center and over to the left side, that forward left diagonal. Imagine like you're really reaching out, especially through those right fingertips, but also keeping that right hip where it was in your child's pose. If you're reaching so far that your hip is lifted, you might have gone a little bit too far. And just inviting the breath into the stretch, really awakening that right side of your body with your breath. Good job. When you're ready, just easy, nice and gentle, walk those hands back through center, finding your child's pose. On your next inhale, let's come back up onto our hands and knees, and exhale to tuck the toes and lift those knees, coming into our downward facing dog. We won't be here for long, but we do want to get a little bit of a calf stretch. So we'll pedal out the legs at your own pace. So just sinking one heel down, bending the other knee, and then switching to the other side. So just bend and extend one leg and the other a few times. And once you've had enough there, I know that can be a lot for the shoulders, you can go ahead and start to walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. So you get the weight of your body in your feet. And we want to make sure that we go slow so we don't get dizzy or lightheaded. We're just going to take a little bend in the knees and slowly roll our way up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. So we can come all the way up whenever you're ready. Preparing here for our pyramid pose. So for pyramid, we're going to take that right foot forward. And you don't have to use the length of a yoga mat. You actually don't want to. You only want to use about half the length. So just kind of finding a comfortable stance with the right foot forward. And the left foot is just comfortably back. And the left toes, those back toes are kind of faced out at a little angle, maybe about 30 degrees. And just finding your balance here, because already this can be a little bit wonky for your balance. So just make sure that your hips are facing forward. And if you feel off balance, instead of being on a tightrope, you can always open your feet out to more of like being on two separate train tracks. So find your balance, inhale to stand up tall, and use your exhale to begin to fold. So hinging at those hips, we're going to reach down for something. So maybe we can find our thigh. Maybe our hands can find our shin. We just don't want to press right into our knee, so above or below. Perhaps the ankle, or if you have a water bottle, yoga block, or even a piece of furniture, something close by, you might decide to rest your hands on something that's on the ground. It might be a little bit easier for your balance if your hands are on an object rather than on your leg, but either one works. Some of you might be able to take fingertips to the mat. So this isn't about getting that right leg fully straight. We actually want to make sure we're not resting the weight of our body in our right knee, but we do want to make sure that we're feeling the stretch. So if we're lunging into that right knee too much, we might be taking away from this hamstring stretch that we could feel. So the right leg is just softly bent. The hips are still kind of pulling up and back and trying to fold with a nice straight spine as best as you can. That's why resting your hands on an object is nice here, because if you go too low, you might round the back. And just taking another breath here into that right leg. And then when you're ready, remember, easy does it, hands to hips, really push into that front foot to find your balance and strength as you rise back up gently, slowly. Listen to your body. And we'll have hands on hips for our balance sequence. So it's just a movement here where we're going to work on lifting and lowering that back leg. So really root down through those right toes. Find a steady point to look at on the ground in front of you. And on your inhale, start to lift that left knee forward to a 90 degrees bend. And on your exhale, we'll step back into the place we started. So on your inhale, lifting heel, toe, knee. And then on the exhale, lowering those toes and then that heel. So finding that controlled movement 2 more times, inhaling, lifting that knee up. And exhaling to bring it back down, going slow, finding that control. On that next one, just holding that knee up, seeing if you can find that balance, breathing there for 5, 4. If you want more challenge, you can work on extending that left leg. 3, 2. With control, releasing that left foot all the way back where it came from. And then stepping the left foot forward to meet the right. And we'll switch sides. We'll step that right foot back, just getting our bearings straight here for our pyramid pose on the other side. Hips facing forward. Maybe you're on a tightrope, or maybe you're on 2 separate train tracks for more balance. Making sure those left toes are facing forward, the right toes are facing the front right corner of your mat, and your hips are straight ahead. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhaling with a soft bend in that front knee, we'll fold down. So we want to make sure we're not hyperextending that front knee as we reach down for something. Anywhere except our knee will work. And starting to feel the stretch in that left leg. You might notice a little difference here. We're going to keep our hips square so our left leg is reaping the most benefits. And we want to make sure that we have equal weight in both feet, so we're not top heavy into that front leg. Just taking a few breaths here. Pyramid pose is such a great pose for, well, your hamstring, but also the outer IT band of that left leg. And this means that this is also good for our hips and our back, even though you might feel it mostly in your hamstring, let's say. Just knowing that this pose is kind of a little bit more all-encompassing than we might feel. So just taking 2 more breaths here in your pyramid. And then when you're ready, climbing those hands to the hips, gently pressing into that front foot to rise all the way back up to standing. Preparing here for our balance. So just because we know what's coming, we don't want to have any expectations. We just want to find that steady gaze, that newness here on this side. And when you're ready, we'll inhale to bring that right knee forward at 90 degrees. And then exhale slowly with control, stepping back. So we'll inhale, lift heel, toe, knee. And exhale, releasing those toes and that heel back down with control. Couple more times, finding a nice steady pace, something that matches the rhythm of your breath. So if you're breathing slow and mindfully, you're moving slow and mindfully too. And that next time you hold that knee up, we're going to go ahead and keep it there, holding it up nice and strong, finding even hips here, so leveling off the hips. Maybe that right knee is hip high, who knows? Holding for 5, 4, maybe extending that leg if you want more challenge. 3, 2, and then slowly stepping it back. This time, keep it back there. We're going to turn over to the right side. So all 10 toes are facing the right side. And if you want a little bit more stretch in your wide leg fold, you can always heel toe your feet a little bit further apart. We'll inhale to lift the heart up nice and tall. And with those soft knees, we'll exhale, begin to fold down over our legs, finding that wide leg forward fold. This is great. It's a wonderful pose to kind of bring it all back together, bring it home before the close of our practice. You might like to fold. You might like to take an inner thigh stretch. So if you'd like that inner thigh stretch, take those hands underneath the shoulders so the spine is parallel to the ground. Inhale in the center. And as you exhale, bend one knee. It doesn't matter which one, because we're going to inhale back to center. And then exhale to bend the other knee. So you're just kind of going to go side to side, really sinking the weight back through the hips as you go side to side so you can get that inner thigh stretch without aggravating the knee. So maybe you're going side to side, maybe you're folding down, maybe you're doing a little bit of both. Remember, just taking what you need today. And then when you are ready, we'll slowly just kind of turn over to that front foot, so that left foot, and we'll lower the right knee down and bring the left knee to meet it, coming into our tabletop. This just helps us to get on the floor. So when you are ready, sweep your feet to one side and sit all the way down into your space, swinging those legs out in front of you. We'll just extend our legs out straight in front of us for seated staff pose. So bring your heels towards the front of your mat or the front of your space and flex your feet so your toes are up for the sky. Sitting up nice and tall, we'll have our hands beside our hips, palms facing down. And instead of pressing down into the hands, we really want to press down through the hips or through the sitting bones to create some length in the spine. So this is just a wonderful way to kind of check in with our posture after all the movement that we just did, just to see if we can be a little taller, make a little bit more space between the vertebrae, and pulling the lower belly in and up to kind of hold it all together there. Good job. When you're ready, you can bend your knees, walk your feet onto the mat, and just give yourself a tiny scoot forward so you could tuck your tailbone. And reaching those hands forward, we'll slowly, using our core muscles, roll down into the mat, one vertebrae at a time. As you've made it down onto your mat, we're going to do our inversion. Our inversion is just anything that gets our legs upside down so we can reverse our blood flow. So I'm going to offer Waterfall today. And if you have a cushion or a yoga block or something nearby, you can always place that cushion or that pillow underneath your hips. If you don't have anything, it would be a little less core intensive if you put something underneath. So maybe today you put your hands just underneath your hips for a little bit more support. And then we'll take either one leg or both, if you're ready, up for the sky. So you're creating like an L shape in your body, which just gives yourself a little rush of energy before your relaxation. So letting those feet be right over the hips. A lot of times people will bring the legs up and then a little too far over. So we want to try to get those legs straight up and down. Instead of thinking about the toes going like behind your head, think about the heels going a little bit forward, away from your face. So you get that nice perfect stack of your hips underneath your heels. If you feel strained in your legs here, just give your knees a little bit of a bend. Good job. Slowly bend those knees enough to take the feet back down into the ground and release anything out from underneath you as you draw those knees into the chest. We'll take a nice gentle twist, opening the arms out to a T position and just gently lowering those knees over to the right side. Taking a nice deep breath here, you might even look over to the left for a deeper twist in the neck. And then we'll inhale everything back to center and exhale, knees to the left side, maybe turning your head gently to the right side, just listening to your neck. Taking a nice deep belly breath. And then finally back to center. Maybe a big hug or a gentle rock side to side as you complete your movement practice and start to make your way into your relaxation. So maybe this is laying on the ground, nice and flat, or maybe you'd like to keep your knees bent, especially if you have lower back pain. It's great to keep those knees bent. You can always sit in a seated meditation or any shape that you prefer. And when you get there, let's release with a big sigh. So a deep breath in through the nose, and then opening the mouth, and just kind of letting it all go. allowing yourself to just find some stillness. Release any tension in your jaw, your tongue, your face, your mind. And enjoying just a couple minutes here in your relaxation, shavasana. Notice how you're feeling. And when it feels right for you, just beginning to deepen your breath. Starting to wake yourself back up nice and easy. It's taken us some time to get here, so we want to take some time to get out too. You might like to roll out your wrists, your ankles, or maybe taking a nice full body stretch, extending those legs out long, reaching the arms over your head. And when you're ready, with knees bent, we'll gently roll over onto our right side, just using our right arm as a pillow. And just taking a moment to pause. Maybe something sparked up in your mind or your body today in your practice. And although we typically set an intention at the beginning of our practice, we could also set an intention here at the end of our practice. They say that the yoga really begins when we walk off of our mat. Those choices that we make when we walk off our mat and into our day. When you're ready, just easy, nice and gentle, pressing your way up into a comfortable sitting position. And as you've made it, we'll inhale to sweep those arms out and all the way up for the sky, letting the palms come together, hands down on the exhale in front of the heart. Finding gratitude for your practice today. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste.